and for the cost to move after they broke up.
How old are you, Miss Gage?
19.
How old are you, Mr. Cowie?
25.
Miss Gage, it is your claim that you made a couple of loans to Mr. Cowie while you were dating.
Correct.
How old were you when you met him?
When I met him, I was 17.
When's your birthday?
In May.
And how old were you, Mr. Cowie, when you met?
23.
Were you working?
Yes, sir. Or ma'am, sorry.
What were you doing?
I was a manager at a Subway restaurant.
What are you doing?
I'm a pharmacy tech at Walgreens.
When do you claim you made your first loan to Mr. Cowie?
The first loan was made in September of '06, but he had paid that back to me. The second loan came in February of '07.
What was the second loan for?
I was informed by the defendant that his tires had been slashed at work and he had no transportation to get to work.
And?
And we talked about it. He said that he would give me the money when his first paycheck came in after the loan had occurred.
Why didn't he pay for his own tires?
Because he said he didn't have any money. He had just paid rent and car insurance and a payment on a car.
Where were you living at the time?
I was in my own apartment in Boise.
So you had rent too?
I did.
And you had a car payment?
My car's fully paid off.
Had insurance?
I did have insurance, yes.
So?
Okay, at the time my tires were slashed, I was a little stressed, was up to my eyeballs in debt, trying to figure out how I was going to cover it. She met us, me and a friend of mine, at a local bar. We were trying to discuss how we were going to solve the problem. And
well, it's your problem.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. She showed up. We were actually in a relatively serious point in our relationship, looking at the potential of moving in together, even getting married. And she says, don't worry about it. We'll solve it. Here you go. Let's go get the tires.
And? What did you say?
I felt about 2 inches tall, taking money from a girlfriend.
So if you felt 2 inches tall, you probably said to her, I'll pay you back.
No, ma'am.
Oh, yes, you did. Because if what you said was, I felt about 2 inches tall because I was really stressed, then you would have said to her, if you were talking serious and marriage to her, you wouldn't want her to think that you were just a bloodsucker. You would have wanted her to think you were a person of character, so you would have said, as soon as I can, I'll pay you back.
We were at a point in our relationship.
And you had paid her back another loan.
Yes, ma'am, earlier in the relationship. We were at a point in the relationship where we were looking at the potential of even joining bank accounts.
Yeah,
so,
but you were smart enough not to do that with her.
Yeah,
or she
things
was
fell
smart
apart
enough not
shortly
to do
after.
that with you.
I would say it was probably a mutual road. Yes, ma'am.
Good. So how much were your tires?
$400.
That you owe her. Did you pay her back?
No, I didn't.
What else?
I just wanted to point out that the only time I've ever been in a bar with the defendant is when we went to play pool, and it was not of hours of drinking. When he told me that the tires were slashed, it was in a text message, and I was at school. I also would like to point out that we have never talked about joining bank accounts. Never.
Good.
I actually have a check that my bank returned to me. He claims that he did not pay for that $400. He paid me a check on the 6/28/07 of $200 that went through my bank account, and then within the week was withdrawn because there was a stop payment put on the check.
What was this for, Mr. Cowie?
To shut her up. I was getting constant phone calls berating vindictive ex-girlfriend, you owe me money, you owe me money.
So you gave her a check and then you stopped payment on it?
I realized I didn't have the money in the account to cover the check, so I stopped the payment on it.
Okay. What else does he owe you money for?
I took a withdrawal out at an ATM machine for $20 so him and his buddy Russell could go
Who
to
cares?
fishing. I also have moving expenses that I would like to sue for.
What kind of moving expenses?
Even though I was not living with the defendant, I was living relatively close to the defendant. With my past history and all of the emotion and anger, and when a guy gets angry, I get very scared. I specifically told him, don't come around, I don't want to see you.
Put your hand down.
And
Miss Gage, listen to me. That part of your claim is not actionable.
Okay.
What you're really saying is you have a history, and based on your history, you reacted to whatever angry messages he was leaving, so you moved. That is not actionable. But certainly the money that he owes you for the tires is actionable. What do you want?
He was making sure that he was playing upon the fact that she had been abused.
I don't have to go into that. It's absolutely not necessary. Sit down. That part of her claim is not actionable. She doesn't have to discuss it with me. The fact that she chose to move because they were living too close to each other for her comfort is probably a smart thing, but she had to make it within her comfort zone, which she did based upon her history, which is not his problem. You ever get a restraining order against him?
I did not.
Good. He owes you for the tires, $400. Judgment for the plaintiff. That's all. Thank you.
Advisor excused. You may step out.